So it's been a week since E3 started.
Yes.
The weekend is done. Everyone's back home. Hangovers have subsided. Electronic Entertainment Expo 2013 is now over.
Yep, and there's a lot of games that were shown, and the conferences were quite heavy.
Yes, now we were originally going to do a video on Konami's press conference, but their announcements were minimal, to the point where having one would be pointless.
Pretty much they announced...
Lords of Shadow 2, Kiefer Sutherland is the voice of Snake now.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth the time and effort to do.
And it had done a ton of mobile games.
Yes. And don't forget PES 2013. Anyways, the following videos are going to cover all of the conferences, starting from Microsoft, working our way through Nintendo's with Nintendo Direct, and we're going to evaluate the bingo cards that we had and our overall estimates of what's going to happen.
And the overall impressions of what we've seen going on in E3.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to cover more than just the conferences, but more or less just the conferences.
We'll see where it goes.
So we're going to start with Microsoft, since they came in first.
They had a lot
problems
coming in because they...
Actually, everyone had trouble.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, in general, they had their conference, the announcement of the Xbox One, like, 2 weeks prior, and there was a lot of policy problems people found out. Was that it was a DRM, there was always online.
Yeah,
then, like, that Thursday, before the event, they decided to finally, write in writing, explain the policies, and they weren't good.
The policies were all over the place, specifically saying things like you have to be online once every 24 hours, but if it's not yours that you're trying to access, it's once every hour. You can share with a group of 10 people, but only one of them can play at the same game you are playing at the same time.
You only sell used games to participating retailers, and only if the publisher says it's okay.
And then there was a whole list of other things, all these like complicated instructions.
A lot of hoops you gotta jump through just to do what you do normally now.
Yeah, it's complicated, and that's ultimately led to more negativity toward it. So walking into this particular press conference, that was the pervading thought process at the time. So what did Microsoft start in its press conference?
With a very big game, Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain.
Yeah, Phantom Pain, it opened up, I thought it was like some Red Dead Redemption game.
Because they go back of horses.
And when the desert, which resembled very little of what they actually showed us of Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain.
But now we've realized, you're in Afghanistan, it's fully open world, weather system, day-night cycle, everything looks fabulous.
Except for the wet rocks, it still looks like it's mud, so it doesn't look right. But Kiefer Sutherland is now
new face
and voice,
which I'm a little bit off by. I mean, maybe I'll grow to it, but right now it just doesn't seem to fit. I'm used to a rougher.
Yeah. Also, there's a lot of characters that were introduced. They look nice. I just don't know who these people are. These have nothing. Are these part of any part of the lore? Is there any part of the lore to this series? Is there a lore anymore at this point?
I don't know. I think they're just making it kind of as they go.
The music was nice.
Oh,
that was them trying to make it epic.
And it actually has really good stealth scenes in it. And in fact, it's open world, different vehicles, and you tackle the game your way. And I like that idea. How exactly open is the game? Well, you have to play the game to find out.
Yeah, especially if there's a story that's like some sort of big story. I'm guessing there's multiple stories going on at once, and depending which way you go first, the story kind of leads that way. That way they can have an actual cohesive story that really is going to keep going linearly as you progress.
One thing I noticed was that it was far more stealth of a trailer. There wasn't any action at gunning people down.
There was some shooting.
Well, there was, but it didn't feel like it was
like
as opposed to the other Metal Gear Solid games, like Metal Gear Solid 3 or whatever. It was like in the middle of a war, or 4, in the middle of a war. Here it was much more subdued, trying to be more stealth, which is good for what the series is. Now, after the trailer, it said Xbox One. There was a lot of confusion on the internet saying, "Oh, it's Xbox One exclusive." Not so. It turns out it is coming out to the PlayStation 4 and other platforms, I think the PC. I'm not sure about that one.
The idea is that the Fox engine is able to go to multiple platforms, and nothing like this would never be exclusive.
And, in fact, one thing we've learned when going into these conferences is that you have to have a good ear to make sure they say exclusively for.
Also, even then, you have to pay attention to the wording of the exclusivity. They could say exclusively launching, which means it's not actually launching. It's exclusive.
It's going to come out to other platforms eventually.
Yeah.
But you have to be very good ear with that, and that was a mistake that. I remember, I think Kojima actually came on the Twitter saying, no, it's coming out to all platforms.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after that game announcement, we got the Xbox 360 again.
Yes, the Xbox Mini guess we've been making the last 2-3 years is finally true.
Yes, it's a smaller, sleeker, and it has a style similar to the Xbox One, because it's supposed to be a companion to your Xbox One, since that's not backwards compatible with your 360 games.
Yes, but the only thing that's changed is the look, because there's actually no change in the price or in any features involved in it.
Nope, it's just a smaller, sleeker Xbox 360.
Now, the reason why, I'm guessing, is that they're wanting it to stay the same price as the current Xbox 360's out, so that when it sells out all those older Xbox 360s, and they finally get to fall, they'll lower the price to about $100.
Yeah, and they also announced it was launching that time. Again, this is like the second time they've announced a new Xbox 360 and said, it's coming out today!
There's a little fanfare about that,
and that was,
to be honest.
And that was like they announced it, and okay, moving on. It's like, did you want to talk about it? I mean, right here.
That's something that kind of pervades the entirety of this press conference, is the absolute lack of care, I guess is the way you put it.
Okay, we announced it, let's move on. It's like, shouldn't you be excited for it? Talk to us a little bit about it. We're here, we're sitting down.
Even show it off, except for the picture on the background.
That's all they did.
But on that note, they did talk about something about Xbox Live Gold.
Yes, they're changing that up a bit.
They said that rather than, they were going to give you free games until the Xbox One launch.
Yeah, two free games a month.
A total of about 8 to 10 games, pretty much. And the first month, starting in July, is Assassin's Creed 2 and Halo 3.
Those games are, what, 5 years old?
6 years old.
6 years old. It's good that we're getting these games for free, which you can probably buy at a local game store for probably about $5-10 maybe.
Yeah, it's not great. Definitely when you compare it to PlayStation Plus, where you get games that are, I don't know, 3-4 months old for free, as opposed to Xbox Live Gold, where you're getting this.
I think you actually keep these games, whereas the Xbox PlayStation Plus is kind of just like a momentary of owning it for a month.
Yeah, in this case, they did say that eventually you would get to keep it. I'm guessing they give you download codes on their service, and you can just download on.
There was other things they changed. They were going to change. They said that now their Microsoft points will be converted.
Yep.
And that it's now whoever has gold. If you have an Xbox 360 with one member on that Xbox 360 has gold, everyone has gold.
I think that may have been actually part of the OS discussion later on about Xbox One, not Xbox 360.
I thought it was talking about.
I don't think so.
Oh well.
On that note, they did announce a couple more games for Xbox 360. World of Tanks Xbox 360 edition.
Yep. So
it seems to be. I guess when it comes to scouting new software, they decide to find whatever's popular on Twitch and upload it onto their.
Yes, Minecraft was big, and now World of Tanks is big. So guess what? Boom, World of Tanks now Xbox 360.
Now, obviously, it's Xbox 360 edition. I think it actually might be coming to other platforms as well under a different name, but. Obviously, but at this point, Xbox 360 edition.
And it's free to play.
Except
if you pay for the online features, which is on the Xbox 360.
Yeah, so it's not really free to play if you get what I'm saying. Max, the Curse of Brotherhood.
We saw this at PAX, and in fact, the trailer was from PAX.
It was the PAX trailer.
It was exactly the same, and it was literally... There was no discussion.
Yeah, I don't even know why they should bother to show it. I mean, get to the actual stuff that's new.
Or the fact is, if you're going to talk about it, talk about it. I mean, don't just throw it out.
If you're going to talk about Max, the Curse of Brotherhood, why didn't you show Loco Cycle? It's stuff like that.
That's a game that's coming out for the Xbox One and Xbox 360.
That you were publishing. But no, I guess Max, the Curse of Brotherhood cost them more money, so they have to...
I don't know.
Get it going. Dark Souls 2 was there. They had a trailer. I'm not sure
what I think about it.
Not a fan of the music decision.
No, not at all. I'm worried about this game because the head of Namco Bandai says they want to make this AAA, and I'm like, wasn't the other one AAA? But it sounded like that they felt that although they made profit on the first one, they want to make exorbitant amount of money in the next one.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if it's going to be like a dumbed down version of the series, so it's more for the people the more mainstream audience, or if they're actually keeping it as hard as ever, and the mainstream audience that's going to it is going to be very shaken by the
we all hope for the best for this game because the first one was so good. We'll see what happens with this one. I didn't see enough in this trailer to really. That felt like
I think I saw like two or three bosses.
A mirror shielded enemy.
And there's a guy inside that comes out and is a special. I don't know.
You really got to see more of that stuff.
Dark Souls is something you experience more than watch. So, unless you're watching something on like Twitch or something, you want to see people fail at it.
This next game, however, I'm not sure you consider it a fail or whatever.
Well,
but
yes, because it starts now. We've shifted from Xbox 360 to Xbox One software, and finally, after 3-4 years of it being finally announced, we finally get the first full gameplay information and all the content for Ryse, Son of Rome.
Yep, it's finally got a full title, and it's not Kinect based.
Oh yeah, not at all.
I mean, originally it was going to be a beat 'em up first person shooter or first person boxer or whatever it was. Well, now it's third person, and you command a bunch of troops apparently by yelling at them.
Did they have they had a teaser trailer when it started too? They showed it was like showing all these pieces of like plaster, and it comes together and then explodes.
I mean, look cool. I like that, but then the gameplay played, and I didn't like it.
It's a third person slasher. I would say it was literally like Call of Duty, but in Rome.
Yeah, it was like the Storm of Normandy. It really was.
It's like, what beach are we on?
It's like there's arrows and explosions, and and wrecked ships. And
for a game that was so action-packed, the demo was very slow.
Yes.
Your character would move at a snail's pace and then stop and then look off to the side to see someone die or a boat break apart or people suddenly attacking. And then all of a sudden, while you're maybe occasionally slashing characters, the army would suddenly come together, and then you would kind of move in this march and then you'd stop. Arrows, press the B button now, use over chance.
That was the other thing I noticed heavily. A lot of QT, QuickTime events, and apparently what we've heard from impressions is that you actually don't even need to press a button. It just does it for you.
Yeah, apparently if you even press the wrong button, the game still does the right thing. Whether that was part of the demo or the main game, I sure hope as hell it was the demo.
But it's like, so am I actually playing the game, or is the game playing itself? And I'm worried about that. And really, it seems like you're just more or less commanding your troops rather than actually taking part in the action, which is a shame because there was a lot of action going down there.
It really stopped the momentum of anything they had at this point. I would say it was not that great.
And they also had that moment where it said, in the moment of time.
Oh yeah, they even had a moment where it was like, in the best interest of time, we're going to skip ahead. I wonder why. We're moving at a snail's pace, and just like any other game like Call of Duty type demo, we have to just jump to the next action piece to show you. And even then, it was QTEs, QTEs, QTEs. It was not really good.
Didn't leave a good impression on us.
And then right after the demo was over, they kind of fade to black, and then Killer Instinct!
KI! Combo!
Ultra Combo!
Like, okay, that's cool, yeah! So, what are we looking at here?
So it's totally Killer Instinct.
And it was like 3 characters were announced, and then done.
They had 3 characters that looked like they were modeled kind of like 360, but kind of like Xbox One models.
I'm still trying to figure out where they were.
And then they showed some beat 'em up, and then they said Ultra Combo, and that was the end of it. It was a very short trailer.
It was less than a minute.
And it was like 34, 36, 40
I'm like,
seconds.
look at this, I'm like, really? This was a big thing, and that was it. They didn't even talk about it. It was literally like, out.
Yeah, we found out that the game is being developed by Double Helix.
And not Rare.
Who was noticed, I think they were behind the development of Silent Hill Homecoming, as among some other games that are questionable. But on top of that, they did have it shown later on, which we'll get to in a moment. But frankly, I found the announcement and the kebab and the trailer, I don't know.
When I saw the KI, I'm like, cool, we get to see something interesting.
Killer Instinct! 3 characters and we're done.
And I'm like, look at this, like, this doesn't look like a very interesting fighter either. It looks like a generic, big, bulky guys beating each other up. And I'm like, okay. And it was kind of interesting because we also found out that Rare, before the conference started, they just announced that they're making a sports rivals game.
Yeah, so that gets another box checked right there. So apparently the Rare that currently exists can't make their own IPs. They have to lend them off to other developers.
Disappointing. And then they went back to this game. Should we mention that now? Or
let's discuss it right now.
So they went back to this game later to actually demonstrate some of the features, like apparently and.
They showed like a Mad Catz
new fighter stick, and that was playing out some big
playing on Twitch, and that stuff we'll get to in the OS discussion.
But it's like, and it really didn't seem any much better than it really was.
No,
it was the same stage, same characters. Again,
it was chaotic. It was kind of not so much clunky, but it looked hard to watch. Is what I was getting.
It was hard to watch,
and the commentary was hard to watch. But
that too.
You can actually watch the commentary. It vocalizes out.
Yes, and then we saw another game. It was Sunset Overdrive by Insomniac.
So they start off by calling out Insomniac. So it's like, oh, betrayal! And he comes out and goes, we have this new game. It's called Sunset Overdrive, and it turns out to be like kind of an open world parkour zombie game.
Alien.
I think they're zombies. Whatever they are,
they're not human.
They're not human. It looks to be that we only saw a teaser trailer for one.
Yes.
The point of the game is that you apparently use like these this special called Overdrive. It looks like a soda almost, or an energy drink to power up your weapons.
Yes, and I don't know.
It's made by the Resistance team, from what I've heard.
Yeah,
and
I can't figure out what the hell the game's about.
Okay,
is it a story to this? Is it just like a combat? Is it kind of like a multiplayer game?
It's definitely multiplayer. We talk about. They mentioned
Team Fortress. What are we doing here?
They mentioned the cloud and how is it going to overarch like a world of to explore that's constantly growing because of the cloud. The cloud was mentioned a lot, by the way. If I had written the cloud 10 times as opposed to experience, we would have gotten bingo twice.
Maybe,
but I mean that was. It was okay, but it wasn't really an announcement. It was
an announcement, but it wasn't anything showcased.
Yeah, it's definitely not coming out for another year at the very earliest. So.
And then we got our first footage, or more footage, of Forza Motorsport 5.
Yeah, they actually introduced it by having one of the a special car rise up from the ground and be like, this car is one of 2 cars in the world. It actually is faster than aerodynamic or something like that, but it's illegal to race with. But we're going to have it here for you to see and sit in, and you're going to be able to play it in Forza Motorsport 5. It was, but the trailer was pretty neat.
Yeah, again, showing the nice quality details of the cars, which is, of course, what you'd expect from a next-gen racer.
Yep, and by the way, we're going to start counting. This is the first next-gen car racing game that we've had at E3. It's like the bows of last year was the year of the bow. This year's the year of the realistic car racing game.
And yes, once again, they had to slow down the car just to get a nice sheen of the car. I think it's a little... Now it's Kenny Valley for the cars. Can you believe that?
Yeah, one of the things that's really interesting is they tried to think about the Dravatar.
Oh yeah, that was an interesting idea, where basically the system reads how you drive, and then says, okay, based on how you drive and how your mechanic certain scenarios, we can create a copy of you and put you into the cloud so that people can race you.
Yeah, and in fact, I'm going to guess after a few months of this game running, a lot of the times you're actually going to be racing against the Dravatars of other people rather than AIs that they've developed. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, that's been done on other games in the past. It's been done in Dead or Alive Dimensions. Did it? Where you fight enough guys and you actually street pass, a copy of your AI goes to other people.
Yeah.
So this is not new, but I can imagine with the concept of the cloud, it can actually be beneficial to the game because it's actually going to be constantly...
It makes your racers feel human, which is good.
Which is always good. So then after Forza Motorsport 5, they have Phil Harrison come out onto the stage. And he's actually, he's another portrayal, because he was originally from Sony when the PlayStation 3 was coming out. And so now he's here for Microsoft. And he was saying, Microsoft is all about the indies. We are supportive of independent developers. And what did they go ahead and show as a result?
Minecraft Xbox One Edition.
So it's not even it's not even developed by Mojang. It's developed by 4J Studios, who made the Minecraft Xbox 360 edition. Mm-hmm. And this is clearly being made because Xbox 360 edition can't be brought over to Xbox One.
And Minecraft is like the best-selling Xbox Live Arcade game.
Yeah. It's kind of almost insulting to the smaller indie developers because it's the equivalent of saying we support mobile developers of small and large size, and by that we're going to show off Angry Birds as our sole support.
And of course, the biggest independent developer out there, and they say, okay, that's the guy we're picking out. Well, the smaller guys, if they why didn't show them off? Then you would truly be showcasing that you were good for the indies.
In their defense, they do show another independently developed game later on, which is odd because they should have shown it here when they were still in topic with it, but I don't know why they did that. It just came to me as really kind of insulting to smaller developers by saying we're supportive of you
as long as you're big.
As long as you're big. And so that's kind of a bit of an issue going through that. And after that, they return back to their first-party games, which is kind of
middle point there.
With Quantum Break.
Yes.
Now, they finally decided they were going to show gameplay footage of Quantum Break.
Yes.
Instead, they decided to show a cutscene.
Yes, it was definitely a cutscene, or at least we thought it was a cutscene. I didn't see the gameplay, did you?
Oh, yeah, they show like
walking through glass.
Walking through glass and helping this person and trying to get some exposition about how we got to stop this thing.
Now, this whole gameplay footage was shown in-engine.
Yeah, now in-engine is another word that's been used a lot this particular
E3.
E3, because I guess a lot of developers don't think they have enough good content to show gameplay footage, so they just go, oh, we're just going to take the models of our engine and run it on a super high-end PC, and that we're going to say is in-engine.
Yes, it's not in-game, which means that it's not actually running on the hardware, and it's not finalized, so everything you're looking at can be nice and spruced up on like PC hardware or on some kind of dev kit, rather than the actual game.
It's a mobile bullshot, essentially. Is what
it's mobile bullshot.
It's moving, but it's like it's not.
Is it really what we're going to see?
Yeah, but there wasn't any gameplay footage, so I can't even tell you how it controls. It's just a cutscene.
I mean, the concept sounds interesting. Time gets screwed up. Cool.
All right.
I don't know how the TV thing's going to work into it.
No, I don't know either.
We'll have to see. Actually, when we see gameplay footage, then we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, now they do come back and do some little indie thing here with D4.
D4.
D4 is developed...
Do you know what D4 is?
Kind of.
I didn't get it.
It's an episodic murder mystery directed by Swery65. Now, Swery65 is the guy behind Deadly Premonition, which is a very odd, very cult classic game that came out for Xbox 360 and later on PS3. Kind of like Twin Peaks. It was actually being pitched as a Twin Peaks game, and then they said they couldn't do it, so they made it their own thing. It's really, it's rough, is the best way to put it. The game is rough around the edges, but the game has its own identity, which is really strong about it, which is why this announcement is significant. But it was really weird to see it, because it was less than a minute, there was almost no discussion about it, and it's like, okay, there's some QTEs in here, it's cel-shaded, and it's an episodic game. That's pretty much as far as we could tell. And it's Xbox One exclusive.
Yeah.
once again, they decided to introduce a new IP. They actually kind of hinted at this. You didn't realize it when you were when they first showed off the Xbox One event, but this was actually there. Project Spark.
Yes. This is a strange thing where it allows you to create your own world. Like you tell it, okay, create a mountainside, make a forest, give it texturing of a forest,
make it rain,
and then zoom in, and then you zoom it in, and then you like make it daytime, make it nighttime, make it 4 o'clock, is what they said, and then you go in there and you using your smart glass, you press down into it. But okay, I'm making mountains, I'm making a moat, boom, game.
Yeah, this is essentially a variant of Kodu, which came out, I think, a couple of years ago, which is kind of similar. The idea of being able to create your own game using the tools that we've been giving you. This seems to be a kind of its own genre now, create your own game.
Yeah, Little Big Planet and such.
They actually use the words build, create, share, which is exactly the same, almost exactly the same thing as Sony's concept behind it. But it's odd because it shows that you can make your own world and then apply AI to things. So it's actually pretty useful. It's just that it's going to be very time consuming, and also you have to rely on their models to make it.
Yeah, you can't make your own stuff.
As far as I can tell, there's no way to implement your own models or import anything of that nature. So it's really about using what's been given to you.
I wish that they had better people demonstrating, because I don't know, they sounded so fake.
It also made it obvious that they were kind of showing a demo video game kind of thing, where they're like, okay, we're gonna shoot this fire, and all of a sudden the camera kind of pans with the fire. I'm like, how did they know that the fire's gonna do that? Is that programmed, or is that them showing a camera angle showing it happen? Or like we gave them 3 days to make this same world we're in, so we just made for you guys. Click. Hey, it's in 3 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the turkey's been done. Let's take out the turkey. It's already finished. It's kind of pre-cooked, I guess you could say.
Yes. You got a rock mech. Well, that's cool. Yes. You can mess the world. That's cool too.
Oh, and I can make the ground grow.
Now, can you do this
with Earthwalker? It's
like, oh yeah. Can you do this without smart glass?
Yeah, I'm guessing you could with the controller,
but it wouldn't be as good.
It wouldn't be as good. It's got. There's a lot of potential. The trailer they showed had you playing with 8 different things, 8 different genres, among other things.
Like racer. And
yeah,
stuff.
It's all pretty good. Though once again, Little Big Planet has done this before, but I guess not to this scale. I think
with not a tablet.
No, with a tablet involved. Which, by the way, is another thing that's happened a lot this E3.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about it as it happens. Lots of tablet usage.
Now OS.
Yeah, as they say, we were hoping that they were going to spend more than 10 minutes. They spent
less than 6.
About 6, more or less. So first thing was they showed off the main window again, and they said, so you can now check out stats. So now you can compare more than just your gamer score. You can see how far along you are through the game.
Compared to
everyone else. You can see milestones that people have made, what you've met, and what you can do. And that's pretty cool, and it's pretty good for stat tracking, essentially.
Yes.
For the people
more than just the gamer score, you can actually look up your stuff.
For all the OCD and all of us.
Yes. All little OCD.
Then she went into the game that she was playing, and then you know what? I want to go to someone else's game. So she went to this other guy playing Killer Instinct, which we talked about earlier. It said, I want to join your game. Joined. Whether that was instantaneous or not, I don't know. Maybe it went through the cloud, as they always been talking about. But when she jumped in, and he was playing with the Mad Cat stick, and she was playing with the controller, and then we had one of the most awkward exchanges between presenters this whole E3, and they started off with something called Upload Studio.
Yes.
Which allows you to effectively take what you've done, add bells and whistles to it, and then upload it to either the cloud or YouTube or I don't know.
Now, what I'm trying to figure out is, did he only do is click, and then the trailer they shown was it? Or was it actually we've spent hours making this, and here it is?
I think they actually allowed you to put in a template, take a chunk of 3 seconds, add text to the text popping up, and then it'll just appear.
But still, it felt like it was we had it already
pre-baked. It looked, once again, pre-cooked. But I think that was expected.
And the big thing they wanted to announce is they have a partnership with Twitch TV now.
So now you can immediately start streaming your games from Twitch. But once again, a lot of things that I've seen people from Twitch do is they like to make their own setups, their own charts, their faces. They want to do all of that. I'm not sure if Xbox One can do that, which is a big question mark.
Well, Snapshot.
You want XSplit to appear on the Xbox One.
We'll see.
But yeah, it was okay. But definitely that exchange. It was so.
Now
it was quite awkward.
The next game on this list we feel sorry for
because it had no sound.
Yes, they released. They played the trailer, no sound, and people were going pew pew pew. It was Crimson Dragon.
Crimson Dragon, it was cringeworthy at some points. I actually watched the trailer after the fact, and it was with the sound, and it was fine. It looked great.
Visually it looked fine.
Visually, yeah. All the different variants and locations.
And the dragons and everything.
But I think that maybe they should have actually replayed it with sound. There's nothing wrong with that, guys. It's not like this is not something we can just, let it happen and walk away going, oh, that was pretty good, right?
But that's what they did. And I think it's disrespectful for the developer to just say, oh yeah, here's that game you were spending a lot of time on, and that trailer you spent time making, and by the way, yeah, there's no sound, and we're just going to keep moving on.
Yeah, and on top of that, the game has been like almost done for a while.
I think it was originally supposed to come out for the Xbox 360, and then the Xbox One was coming around and said, you know what? We can take advantage of the new Kinect on the Xbox 1 is probably better than the 360 one, so just move it over.
The game also has gamepad support, I've learned, so there's that probably being involved, and so it looks great. So
if you like Panzer Dragoon, that's the game for you.
There you go. Then came a surprise announcement from Capcom.
Yep, an exclusive.
Which technically wasn't surprising since we guessed it. But Dead Rising 3.
Yes, but it was exclusive, right?
Yes, they said exclusive to Xbox One.
Mm-hmm. It's an open world Dead Rising game.
Yep. So in this case,
Dead Rising open world, or whatever.
It wasn't really open world,
and it's trying to be more like
Western
and darker. And
yeah, there wasn't a lot of humor in this at all.
No,
there wasn't any.
It was cool how you had to navigate the area and go through different places.
Yeah.
And now if you have a tablet, you can do an airstrike.
If you had Oh,
did I just say tablet again?
I heard airstrike. This is survival horror, right?
Yes.
I can just go, oh, guys, I'm planning on going down this road, just nuke the whole city. I'm just going to walk across. I figure, why not?
And by the way, there's one thing here, is they merged a sledgehammer with a chainsaw.
That was pretty fun.
I don't know, it just didn't seem to make much sense.
This is Dead Rising.
You mix things together.
We will put chainsaws attached to boxing gloves if we want to, but we will do it. That was probably the most Dead Rising-esque element of it, was that and the tons of zombies.
Oh, you can drive cars this one.
Yeah, you can drive cars.
The big thing is you drive your car around, and the guy crashed, which I thought was funny because it was funny.
It's funny that he crashed a car?
It's funny because
traffic accidents make you laugh.
I think he crashed on purpose because he had to crawl through that one.
Yeah.
And they used a bomb explosion, then boom, cuts to the trailer, to the title.
Yeah, it wasn't too long of a demo, and
it was long enough. I think it did a good job showcasing the game, and honestly, it looked like a good game.
I would say that between that, one of the biggest concerns is that the game doesn't actually resemble much of Dead Rising 1 and 2 from an artwork perspective. It looks much darker and more dreary, kind of like how Resident Evil 6 didn't look much like Resident Evil 5 and before, when you saw it from that perspective. But, I have faith that, if it weren't for the airstrike kind of throwing me off for a second, I have faith that it'll probably be a pretty good game.
Mm-hmm.
So then after that, we got someone from CD Projekt Red to come up and talk about the development of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. They said there's going to be exclusive content on it.
I think it was like an hour or so.
Or something like that.
But coming out, I think it's coming out for consoles exclusively first to
Xbox One. I think, but it's also coming out to other places as well, PC specifically.
Yes.
It's odd because the developer is, I think, in Poland, which is not where the system is going to be able to be run when it first launches. And I think
whatever. But it looks good. Again, open world, full good graphics, fighting monsters. It's apparently the end of the trilogy. They said it was the end. So it's Witcher.
Then came Battlefield.
This one looked the best, I think, of most of the games we saw.
Most of the games at E3, Battlefield 4 was among the top.
Yes.
Particularly because, I guess maybe, first of all, the stream we were watching was kind of jumping between 360p and all that. It wasn't, like, top-end HD, so keep that in mind when we explain graphics. But the Battlefield 4 demo was pretty great, with the water effects coming in with the ship that got split in half. But before we even get there was audio glitches with this game, too.
Yes! They started and
no audio.
No audio. So they stopped. And there was awkward, the poor guy presenting it had to stand out there where people were hooting and hollering.
And he was like, I'm fine, be quiet, we'll show it to you later. And he walked off stage and he's like, oh, wait, we're going to do it? It's just really awkward, and I feel sorry for DICE for having to deal with that. But thankfully, the actual demo went smoothly.
And then they announced that there's going to be DLC for
exclusive DLC that starts off exclusively on Xbox One.
Yes.
Same deal as with Call of Duty Ghosts, which, by the way, before you get all crazy and hopeful, it never showed.
Yeah, we were surprised with that one.
Are they still too early in development to show a full playable demo of the game?
That's the game you show at every conference. Like the last 5 years, you had Call of Duty.
We had a demo right there. It's right there in the box, but we ended up not getting to check it this year.
Wow.
It's almost gratifying in a way, but at the same time, they still showed Battlefield 4, so we got our dude brochure.
Yes.
Because frankly, Battlefield 4 looks as much like Call of Duty at this point than Call of Duty does.
It was cool. It was good looking. I mean, again, it had you jumping into a vehicle, shooting things down, and then it ended.
Yeah, so it was exactly what you'd expect.
But it had a lot of good particle effects. It had good water effects. It had good everything.
It looked great. So no
crazy action. I don't know what the plot is for it.
Do you need there to be a plot?
All I know is they were on
There's guys you got to shoot. That's the plot.
Okay. That's good enough, I guess.
And you have companions that you respect at a
and now we're
occupational level.
Yes.
And after Battlefield 4, we jump right into another indie game, Below, from Cappy, which happens to be one half of this logo.
Yes, another indie game. And it's small.
The game Below is like essentially an action game, kind of like Far Off, and you can control this little guy who's a knight, and you have to shoot. They show like some dungeon crawling elements to it. You see some giant monsters. You're activating switches, but you can't see it.
What? I'm like the whole time. I'm going like, what? Zoom it. Is there like
guys? Bring it closer.
Bring the camera closer. I think we can do.
You're a little off.
He was microscopic. People with bad eyes can't play this game.
I understand there's a style of that sort of thing.
We're playing with ants. I think ants are bigger than these.
You're playing as characters that are super small on screen, and I can respect that as an art style, but I can't really play a game where your character is only a handful of pixels, even on an HD screen.
Like, it is on HD screen. It's even smaller. Oh my god.
The game might be fun, but I won't be able to really see it.
I can't see it. My eyes will go blinder.
Which is bad.
It's a shame, because my eyes are pretty blind.
So after Below, they went back to the single player developers, this time talking about Black Tusk. Now, Black Tusk, when we were predicting stuff, I told them they were a new developer. Mm-hmm. They were working on multiple IPs, and maybe they were going to show something new.
Yeah.
We didn't see that. We saw them hint at something.
Another in-engine game.
Yeah. They said everything here is an engine, but we have nothing to show.
It shows the inside of a gun.
They show a guy kick someone as he jumps off into a window, and he pulls out a gun that he supercharges, it zooms into the gun, and he's about to fire a gun, and then it stops and shows the logo for Black Tusk Studios.
It was literally like half a second.
It was literally like that long. And I'm like,
okay. I think everyone in the audience feel like, that's it?
What?
What? Is that it?
So apparently, from rumors and such, the development for the game that Black Tusk is working on is 6 months behind, which means it's not making launch. It may have been attempted to make launch, so it's going to be shown next E3, I imagine, as a big game for 2014. Sci-fi shooter. And then that's my guess.
And then they decided to show off another game, another teaser trailer. And it walked out. It looked nice. Desert.
Desert world. Guy in a girl in a cloak.
And all of a sudden, walked up a giant robot emerges from the ground. I'm like, oh, this is pretty sweet looking. Then all of a sudden, the cloak opens up. It's Master Chief.
Why does Master Chief wear a cloak? He's got a suit of armor. It's not like a good.
The sand might damage the suit, weathering and all that stuff. But yes, teaser for Halo 5.
No, they're not even a name.
It's called Halo by 343 Industries.
No, it's just Halo. They come up and say, yeah, Halo is coming out next year. It's a big thing.
We released a mobile game. We're making a television series, and now new Halo game.
And I go ahead and say, well, there's your Halo representation, folks.
Okay, I'll admit. There, what 343 is doing with Halo, it's really interesting. But anyways, look good. Artistically, the machine looks great.
Yeah.
I would like to see where they're going to take it, because they kind of changed the series.
They changed it a lot with 4, so maybe 5 will be a good step forward.
Now, of course, there's rumors I've heard that Halo 4 was actually built with an Xbox One in mind, because the engine, that's why the game is on 2 discs, because the engine's so large.
Yeah.
So it's easier to bring over to the Xbox One, and that's probably why this game is probably going to be out next year.
Yeah, they probably they have so many people behind their development cycle. They can produce games that fast. And to top it off, they made the engine to be able to develop games like Halo 4 on other platforms. So I think that's why we're going to see it develop that much quicker.
Yeah, sooner rather than later.
And hopefully it's not super rushed in the process.
Following up Halo 5, or whatever it's going to be, they decided to give us the answer to the question we've been all asking. How much is the thing going to cost?
It's going to cost $499.
$500. That's right.
Yep, and that's exactly one of the guesses you made.
Yes.
You actually guessed there was going to be a subsidized version.
Well, they're not going to say that until later. And they might not do a subsidized version if they decide to cut the cost of the Xbox 360, the mini one.
Yep.
And I think the people in the audience were like, oh, $500.
He also started stumbling when he tried getting into the actual other prices.
And he messed up on Euro, and I think that was it. Euro was like 450
20.
pounds.
It was a lot. It was a lot of money.
And it's like, what? And you're hearing this, and like, it's coming out. $500.
It comes out in November, so you better start saving.
Oh yeah, it comes out this year. That was the other thing they announced, which is good, I guess.
Yep. And then they ended it with Titanfall.
Yep. Now Titanfall looks good.
Yeah, we actually guessed that it was coming because we had seen it leaked.
It was leaked
at Game Informer.
Thanks, Game Informer.
And essentially, it's first-person shooter, more squad-based. Not really squad-based, but like more like multiplayer-based.
And has giant mechs, which is called Titanfall because they fall and they land.
Yep. And it's not just that their enemies are in Titans. You actually can go into it yourself. You can be a Titan. You can do quick moves. You can do all these acrobatics.
You use psychic powers with your hand, and you can jump like crazy because you have jetpacks everywhere. It looks fun.
It looks fun. The demo they showed was really solid, and I'm looking forward to it because it's actually showing something that's different than your average shooter. So
yeah, it's not like an average military shooter. It's added new elements and new craziness.
Yeah, and so it was really good looking, and they said it's exclusive to the Xbox.
Yes,
this spring.
It's coming out to both the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One,
and
so
PC probably,
and probably PC. But the idea is you can. And if you don't have Xbox One, you can still play it.
I also heard it's only a year exclusive, too. But besides the point, that was one of our highlights of the show. And that actually ended it, was Titanfall.
Yeah.
So that sums up Microsoft's conference.
We heard a lot of bad stuff in there.
Could be attention. If you had noticed, there was a lot of announcements of things that weren't actually coming out anytime soon. Sunset Overdrive, we have no idea when that's coming out.
Halo 5.
Black Tusk's game. Even things like, announcements like D4. Quantum Break, for example. That game could be out this year, but we saw nothing gameplay-wise at this conference. It seemed so odd that they would just use that as their gameplay footage. They want to emphasize the grandeur of it more so than the actual game behind it, which is a bit concerning.
And it was strange just in general how they viewed announcements like Killer Instinct. They didn't even seem to care that much. They showed it, but they didn't really seem to say, thank you, we finally got Killer Instinct back on board. I hope you're happy for it.
No, they didn't have that. They just literally say...
Well, they did say, we finally got this for you. Everyone's been wanting for it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, Killer Instinct. But they just kind of like... Everything was sudden.
And even the Xbox 360 remake was like, here's the new Xbox. Now let's keep talking. It's like
their announcements seem disjointed. Like I remember we mentioned Minecraft Xbox One Edition and below 2 indie games. When they talk about indie games, they should have had them combined or at least close to one another. Instead, they had it spread out, which was weird because it kind of felt like this mixed message. 1 minute you're in Battlefield 4 shooting down lots of people and boats going underwater, lots of action, and then you go to Below, which is an artistic adventure game from far away, and then you jump into Black Tusk with a guy with a futuristic shooter that is just more than a 30-second teaser, and then Halo. It's really disconnected all over the place, and that's one of the things they talked about a lot was the cloud. They're trying to sell us on the cloud
because they've said that the cloud makes the Xbox One infinitely powerful. That's what they claim.
Yeah, it was and combined with the issues with their technical issues, with not even really addressing the issue for one of the games they announced. One of the better looking games that they showed off, Crimson Dragon, is just going to be left there as this sore spot of what was essentially an oddly paced press conference.
Yeah, they didn't show anything for the Kinect. Ryse was
Ryse was a terrible demo. Why would they spend that long on it? I don't know.
And also, there was no Kinect features. Now again, they did announce Kinect stuff out of the conference, but it was like, if the Kinect is a big feature to your Xbox One, tell us about it. Show some cool stuff with it. But no, they decided to do that for this conference beforehand.
Yeah, now in their defense, they did talk a lot of indie. They had a lot of actual exclusives on the Xbox One. I'm just running down the list. You have Ryse, Killer Instinct, Sunset Overdrive, Forza Motorsport 5, Quantum Break, D4, Project Spark, Crimson Dragon, Dead Rising 3 Below, Black Tusk game, and Halo. That's a lot of exclusives, considering how many games from third parties are probably going to be going to Xbox One as well. Yeah. But just the way they presented it gave us perception of, by the way, these games could be coming out this year, next year, or 2015.
We're not sure yet.
We're not even sure ourselves. The launch titles are clearly going to be Ryse, Killer Instinct, Forza Motorsport 5, and maybe Quantum Break. And that's pretty much the extent of the launch lineup. And overall, it felt disconnected from a lot of the things that we were seeing.
Yeah, it didn't feel like they were there to show off stuff and then walk away. They didn't even talk about it.
And that just comes worse when you hear the other press conferences we're about to get to and how much better they were at presenting their products than they were. And now let's get on to our predictions and what we thought we were going to be there and what we didn't get. First things first, let's just run the list. First things first, we didn't get Call of Duty. They actually didn't show it.
Yeah, strange.
Yeah, they had Battlefield 4, though. Forza Motorsport 5 was there. Quantum Break was there. Ryse was there. There was no new Kinect Sports game, but it was actually announced before. And it was Rare developed. And it was Rare developed, though. There was an old Rare IP coming back, but I didn't say it was developed by Rare. Killer Instinct. Black Tusk was there, even if it was a thing. There was no new Fable. Project Spark tricked me. Crackdown 3 was not there. Respawn Entertainment's game was there. There was no exclusive game from EA, at least not known to us. And technically I could say Respawn's game is there, but I was saying another exclusive for EA. I said there was going to be an exclusive Xbox Live Arcade game. We got one or two of them even. Less than 10 minutes dedicated to indies, that's true. They actually did not spend more than 10 minutes on OS, they spent only 6. And I was wrong, they did announce a price. Tony was half right, they mentioned a price of $499.
I'll take what I can.
The Xbox 360 Mini was announced, and Halo 5 was teased. And the overall theme, Xbox Play Games, was totally on the money.
Yeah, they wanted to sell the games. They didn't talk much on OS. No. They just wanted to show the games. Sadly, some of them weren't actually shown.
Yeah, and our outlandish guess was completely wrong. No Perfect Dark nor Banjo-Kazooie. Apparently, Rare can't go back to its old IPs. It seemed they're stuck with Kinect Sports. And neither big game was actually emphasized. Their big game was clearly more Titanfall and Ryse.
Well, those are the two they wanted people to focus on, anyways.
Anyway, on that note, our bingo card, which you're going to see right now, we did not get bingo.
Sadly.
We actually got very close twice. You can see the red is actually what got announced at the conferences, and the blue is what was announced at E3 in general. We were Call of Duty and Experience more than 10 times off from getting a bingo this time.
Yes.
We were just boggles my mind because both of those were present in previous E3s.
Yes, I know, right?
So we would have gotten bingo if they had been at all similar in presentation to their previous E3s. We obviously got quite a few wrong. I'm actually surprised they didn't talk about sports at all. But other than that, very solid guesses among the list. But in the end, still at the same time unfulfilling.
Yeah.
Do we want to give a grade on these at all?
I don't think they need to.
Okay. And that covers our Microsoft thoughts and disappointment. Click on either side to get to our next press conference, which is EA.